everyone, welcome. This is Patricia Roebuck with Citrus Twist Kits for the September featured video. I will be using mostly the add-on kit with just a little bit of the Life Crafted kit and definitely using that die cut you see there on the right. And I say die cut, but it's actually a cut file. It's a cut file that's available for September called Screen 3, and there's two cut files available. I went with this more leafy pattern, and I selected a pattern paper from the add-on kit in a very neutral, kind of a vintagey look to it. I was really wanting to use some black paint here. I love paint with scrapbooking because it dries really quickly, and I just thought this would really complement that neutral pattern paper cut file that I did here. So I really wasn't sure how this would come out. Now my base that I'm starting with, I did not trim my white cardstock to fit the Life Crafted album. Instead, I trimmed it at about 5 by 8 1/4 so that I can just punch holes and just slip this right into my Citrus Twist Kits Life Crafted album. I'm using a Martha Stewart little sponge dauber I picked up at Michael's. I'm doing this very lightly because I really don't know how it's going to look. I want to do two things here. I want to create a stenciled look on my background, but I want to use that cut file with the black paint on it. I think, again, going with that contrast is what I'm kind of having in mind with this idea. So at first I thought I would just lay the cut file on top and sponge over some paint and be done with it. But I love these kind of projects as you start creating, like you lift it up and you see, well, you need a little bit more here. So I actually really started to use this cut file more as a stencil and moved it around, flipped it around, turned it around, and then increased the amount of paint that I put on my sponge. And as I did that, if you're familiar with any kind of watercoloring or adding any kind of color with inks to your background, if you start off lightly, then you can gradually add more color and you add more depth to your background with just using the exact same ink, in this case paint. So I really got it heavy, heavy, heavy on this last go around. Now when you go heavy like that, it will take a little bit longer to dry. And as you can see in between, I would clean up because I would get some paint on my nonstick mat there. Just be careful of that because the paint does get on the back of your base page and then it could get onto some of your other products or your other page. Now, I wanted to use this cut file as is, but I thought, I really like how the left side came out. I want to create a little bit more lightness on the right side. So I'm like, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go ahead and cut little pieces of this cut file out because the way it is designed, it is perfect to be able to just take your scissors and get in between there and trim off some of the pieces that you don't want. And as I did this, I played around with it. I turned it around to see how I wanted to look. Because in my mind, I do want to have some journaling on this right side. I don't know yet if I want to type directly onto my background or not yet. But I haven't quite got the cut of this just yet. But I started to pull in some of the little pieces that were falling, and I liked the lightness that it created. So I'm going to do one final trim here, and I'm going to actually use one at the corner and then this piece at the top. And I love how just that little bit of leaf at the very top of that bottom one doesn't have paint on it. So again, it's going with that nice contrast. So I've decided to use some of these labels from Pink Fresh Studio available in the add-on kit. I'm really inspired by the sentiments on these stickers because it tied in perfectly with the book that I'm reading at the moment called Switch on Your Brain. So I'm kind of torn between the one with the globe with that saying and torn between this other little saying. But I end up going with the globe. And I'm using these stickers that have images on them, but I'm just checking to make sure that the stickers that I'm going to layer on top that I decide will cover those up because I don't want to see those. Now I went ahead and sent that whole sheet with the stickers on there through my typewriter to add my journaling. And now what I'm going to do is just lay everything into place. I laid the cut files there, and then I'm going to start layering some of these stickers. I really wanted to use that other sentiment, but I think it's too much. The one sentiment is really perfect. But what I did is I selected stickers that would complement and reinforce what that sentiment on that sticker says. Now the rest of this is really, I'm going to fiddle around with some more of the die cuts. The heart there and the black die cut is from the Life Crafted. And there's some fussy cut flowers from paper from the add-on kit. I have quite a few things. I even had some other not die cuts, but cut files that I cut that are available this month. So I had a few things to tinker around with and play with and put into place and just see how I liked it. I definitely want to pull in colors from my book and my Bible and my little pencil case there. So I'm concentrating on some blues and some pinks, some reds. I'm going to leave that right side as is, and I'm going to go on to the left side. Since my background is pretty textured, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the photo as is and not add too much layering to it. But I want to add a little bit to the top. So I add one of the crepe paper die cuts from the add-on kit with stickers from Pink Fresh Studio from that same strip that I had used. And I stamped Read a Book from the Life Crafted stamps available this month. Now here's some awesome stickers that are available in the add-on kit from Crepe Paper. And here is a little silhouette of a woman that I think perfectly complements that main sentiment of that sticker that I selected with the globe from Pink Fresh Studio. And now I'm going to go back to the left side. I'm trying to balance this out. I don't want either side to be too heavy, but I do want to add some layering and definitely create some balance between both of these pages. And not adding anything else underneath that photo, but I am going to use these photo corners available from the add-on kit from Crepe Paper. There's a black and a gold. I decided to go with the gold since that pattern paper cut file has that tan, and then that die cut that I used at the top has some gold in it. So the gold really does accent it and bring some balance to both of these pages. I'm just going to place these die cuts and definitely adding those colors that I want, but I know I need to start adding some kind of title. And I do want to add a little bit more embellishments. I will definitely have to use these. These are just gorgeous. So I'll decide on that later, but first I need to get my title up. I need something there that I'm not sure how I want to do it. So I just kind of place some of these letters. I have my title in mind to use Renewing My Mind, since that sentiment on that sticker I used from Pink Fresh Studio is all about your only limit is your mind, and it goes perfectly with the Switch on Your Brain book that I'm reading in the small group that I am documenting about. So Renewing My Mind is what I'm going to spell out for my title using a combination of the chipboard letters and the crepe paper letters here. Now I did get these a little crooked, but these are very forgiving. So I was able to easily get those straightened out when I could see it a little bit better without the camera directly over the project. But also tweezers would help too, which I'm missing those and I need to find those. But I'm going to continue adding this title here. And then I will commit on the die cuts that I'll use. You'll see in a little bit I change out the one with the numbers on it. I felt like it was competing too much with the title. I have a lot going on this spread with the texture I've created and using the cut file as well. And so I didn't want to clutter this too much, and I felt like it gave it a little bit more breathing room, added that white space back, and then I'm just going to tuck this Life Crafted die cut there. And then I trim a piece of the add-on ribbon and staple that to that die cut. And then I also add that seal embellishment from the add-on to finish this up. And then after that, I just added some stitching to the die cut on the left and some stitching to the right. I hope that you give the paint and your cut files a try with your next project. I think it really creates a unique and beautiful way to use the cut files.